I was born on July 4th, 1965, to two great parents, my mom, Fran, and my dad, Hal. They were both attorneys. My grandma was important in my life, and I would visit her almost every weekend. One day, there was a knock at the door. It was my Uncle Milton. He was a professional magician in New York. He always had a trick with him. He started out with the old coin from behind the ear. He showed me rope tricks, a couple simple tricks. From that moment on, he realized that I loved magic. Every year on my birthday, I'd get a gift from my Uncle Milton, and it'd be a new trick. I'd go over to Grandma's, and we'd work on that trick together. In middle school, I spent all of my free time at a local magic shop. Growing up, a lot of kids thought I was different. They called me names and they beat me up. And my dad would just take me aside and say, John, life's not going to be easy, and you're going to have obstacles that you need to conquer. It was difficult, but I've learned how to be a creative problem solver. I started at Cal State Northridge as a theater major. I had built a pretty successful computer consulting company. I was dating, and I was having a lot of fun. Then it all stopped. I woke up, and I had this really loud ringing in my left ear. I mean, it was loud, and it wasn't the kind of thing that would go away in 10 seconds. Now I had trouble hearing men's voices on the phone. I was dizzy. I made an appointment with a couple different internists.
John, I'm going to play a tone. When you stop hearing it, put your hand up.
I don't hear anything. I was laying there for almost an hour, not being able to move in this claustrophobic tube.
You have a 4.5 centimeter brain tumor. It's displacing your brainstem and slowly killing you.
I don't even know what just happened. Did he really just say he had to do brain surgery on me?
I've known John for 18 years. I felt confident that he had good doctors and that he would be able to survive the surgery and would come out of it okay.
I was scared. My senses were at 100%. I could feel the temperature. I can feel the thoughts going through my mind. I noticed everything.
Anybody would be terrified that they would lose something that would make it impossible to be who they were still.
John, are you there? Can you hear us? John.
As I woke up in recovery, I saw my mom and dad sitting there, and I realized that my dad was smiling, but my mom was horrified. I had lost the smile that she so loved to look at. I stood in front of the mirror and looked at myself, and I was horrified. I had these half-inch staples going the full length of the incision, just like Frankenstein. I found myself not wanting to have photos taken of me. I avoided looking in mirrors. I found myself not socializing with people, not going out, not partying, not doing anything really fun. The question to the doctor was, so when's my face going to move again?
Be patient, John. Just be patient.
He was left with a paralysis and a disfigurement that was starting to affect him as a man.
Adults normally didn't stare, but kids would stare all the time. So I turned to playing poker, because at a poker table, no one really cares what you look like. They just want your money. And so I was driving down to Hollywood Park in Inglewood, California, and playing live poker 2, 3, sometimes even 4 times a week. After playing poker for a couple years, I looked at my bank account and realized maybe this wasn't the best therapy for me. So I turned to my childhood love, magic.
The club opened on January 2nd, 1963. It's a home away from home for magicians from all over the world where they could gather, befriend each other and chat and do tricks for each other and learn from each other. It's become the mecca of magic.
I had been to the Magic Castle in Hollywood once before with my uncle. It was a very magical place, and I remember sitting next to my Uncle Milton in the close-up gallery, and he said, "John, if you apply yourself, maybe one day you'll be sitting there and we'll all be watching you." So I joined as an associate member, and I go every Saturday and Sunday, and I would watch other magicians, and the more I watched, the more my love for magic came to the forefront.
He came up here bravely, just came up and sat down and started doing magic tricks. He found a table. "Gee, you want to see a trick?" Boom.
More.
And pretty soon, he got better.
So I focused then on putting together my audition. They were tricks that I had practiced since, I don't know how long. I had practiced as a kid, so I was pretty familiar with the workings and the sleight of hand. Once they told me I had passed my audition, first thing I did was run to the front desk to buy a gold member pin so I could be a proud member. The Magic Castle, it's such a brotherhood that magicians, no matter how famous they are willing to share their tricks and share their opinions to help you. It allowed me to learn so much quicker. When I first started doing magic after my brain tumor, I was still self-conscious about my face. And as I did more close-up magic, I started to realize that audiences focused on my magic and my deformity disappeared. Magic became my way of coping with my self-confidence issues. I joined the castle as a magician in 2006, but in 2002, guys, I had a brain tumor. Yeah, and when they cut out my head, they traumatized my facial nerve, hence the paralyzed face.
The more his abilities shine, the more he dares to come out, the less I see of his face.
Or side, I like it.
And I think that happens when I watch the audiences when he performs. He illuminates them.
The more I performed, the more I liked myself, and the more I felt comfortable with who I was. And the audience reactions were amazing. But there was a gap of about 12 years where there was not one photo of me, because anytime I had the opportunity to have a photo, I would always shy away. I would zip into the bathroom or go do something else because I didn't want to be photographed, because I didn't like the way I looked. August 4th, 2017, I was at my first magic convention, and I said, screw it, I want to take selfies with these guys. So I stopped worrying about what I looked like and started taking photos with Penn Jillette and Teller and Chris Kenner, Jeff McBride, and Joshua J. And when I got home, as I looked through that, I realized I didn't have to be ashamed about it anymore.
There's more demand to work here than you can possibly imagine.
It took about 10 years of working on routines and getting my skill set and my stories good enough when the director of entertainment at the Magic Castle said that he was going to book me in the close-up gallery.
Please put your hands together for John Kippen!
So every Sunday, Mom, Dad, and I would get together and we'd play board games. Now, my favorite game was Monopoly. One Sunday, Susie, I had all the money. I said, Mom, come on. I want to spend the Monopoly money. That they thought that was cute, minus the whining, right? But I reminded my mom and dad I was a magician, right? So really all I had to do is just...
Wow.
Wow. Is that all you can say is wow? Yeah. That's the exciting part for me. is making it identify with who I am and my life experiences. One of my favorite TV shows of all time, but I am going to show my age with this a little bit. They're a part of the magic. Would you mind if I call you Captain Sylvia? And that creates an amazing connection between me and the audience. Do me a favor, add your name or phone number, something useful. What are you missing? 9 of clubs.
What?
Wait, that's 9 of clubs. That was your card. Yes. It's an adrenaline rush and the exhilaration of entertaining an audience and making that connection. Now this envelope is sealed and notarized. Me too.
Wow.
I know, you can't take that 9 of clubs anywhere, I'm telling you. I'm telling it, yeah, it's got a, see, juicy, and it doesn't rub off and everything.
He did a trick that made me cry from amazement. I had my card like this, and tears welled up in my eyes because I knew that he was gonna guess my card, and it was just impossible.
Show everybody the 6 of hearts, please. The Queen of Clubs. Ladies and gentlemen, that is my show. It was an amazing week of performances. It made me feel that I've accomplished the impossible. Any of us here could be in my position, or even worse off in an instant. Now, I hope that's not true of you. But let it remind you to treat people who are different with the respect and compassion you would ask for yourself, and create momentum to make the world a slightly better place. I had a couple good magician friends commit suicide. So I made a promise to myself that if I ever saw anyone hurting, I would take a moment and just be present.
My mother, sister, and my aunt and I carry the BRCA1 gene. We all got double mastectomies. You reminded me I am more than this gene. That is invaluable. So thank you. I really do appreciate that.
I started to understand that I was able to communicate on a much deeper level because of what I went through with my tumor and my facial paralysis.
I got blood cancer. Meeting John took my mind completely off being sick, showed me tricks, and I'm just going unbelievable. By the time I got in the car to go home, I go, boy, man, I'm gonna beat this thing like a hat trick.
It was an amazing feeling for me to know that my story, through my magic, could cause someone to feel like they could accomplish the impossible.
I got to call John back 9 months later and said, man, I'm in remission.
One parting word of advice. If you ever find yourself sitting across a card table with me, you might want to reconsider. Not only am I a good magician, but I have a great poker face.